Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the story. We are so happy to have you here tonight. We have a lot of things going on, as you can see. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. I always look forward to speaking with you every chance I get. And one thing I would like to highlight for tonight is that I believe that this is a message that can speak to people who maybe might not know what they themselves believe as far as an almighty, omnipotent, higher power. I think it also speaks to the believers of a God who sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to die for our sins. So I want to get into that, but I think I want to start with a quote. And it is by a professor back in Dallas, Texas. He's a professor at, Southern Seminary. He's a seminary professor. I got this source from a pastor in Texas, and his name is Rob Renfro. But here's the quote. How have you changed lately, in the last week, let's say, or the last month, the last year? Can you be very specific? Or must your answer be incredibly vague? You say you're growing. Okay, how? Well, you say, in all kinds of ways. Great. Name one. I want to ask you a question, and it doesn't matter who's listening. How much have you grown in this time so far that we have been quarantined? We've been stuck. My brothers and sisters in South Carolina are beginning the transition of opening things back up. I was able to enjoy a meal, and in Lancaster, South Carolina, I was able to enjoy some Mexican food. Really enjoyed that. But I think our biggest thing is to say, what is the goal in life? What is the goal in life? Okay, so maybe we think having good morals. Maybe we think being good people. Maybe a goal is for people to like us. Something that someone would say, oh, I like that person, they're a good person. And that's a good goal for many people to have. What is the goal in a Christian's life? To become more like Jesus. Romans says, conform to the image of Christ. So it's like we need to be like the image of Christ. So this message is going to apply to everyone, unless people get you confused with the all-knowing, all-righteous, perfect Jesus. If people confuse you with Jesus, then maybe this isn't for you. But for the most part, in fact, I'd say every single one of you, I don't think people confuse you with the perfect one. So I just want to go ahead and say that. So my question is, how have you changed lately? Have you progressed? Are you stuck? Growing in some areas, but in others not so much. In others you're stuck. Is your anger still a problem? Is your attitude, is your pride, are your temptations getting to you? Is there something lingering inside you that you still haven't quite gotten over? You haven't quite gotten to that point where, okay, maybe I want to work out. Okay, maybe I want to study the Scriptures. Okay, maybe I want to start this new habit that I think is good. I don't know. If you're stuck, my big question for you, is this as good as it's going to be? Are you going to stop right here? Is this as loving as you're going to love? Is this as patient as you're going to be? Is this as passionate as you're going to be? Is this as passionate as you're going to be as a person? Is this as passionate as you're going to be for Christ? To be like Jesus? Is this the moment that you'll decide that you will be more, that you want to move forward, you want to show you want to put your passion into something that matters? So we'll be looking at this series, and it's called Getting Unstuck. Let's get unstuck. And at many things. There's many things that get us stuck in how we're living, and it's easy. But I would say that many topics that we're going to talk about throughout this series are going to be, you'll say, oh, yeah, that's me. But this one right here, maybe some people would say, okay, that's not me. I don't think this applies to me as much. But I believe this one actually applies to every single one of us. And it's this: what we pursue is trivial. That we live a life of trivial pursuits. Now, you might think, okay, well, I don't get it. I'm not making sense with the words right now. But the thing is, though, is what do you put your time, your energy, your effort into? What livens your conversation? What do people see in your eyes that you are passionate about? Many times, it's a hobby. It's a sport. A lot of times that people will find themselves thinking that, travel and appearance are number one. Now, these aren't bad things. I'm not saying they're bad. So don't go home, or actually you're home now, but don't just go to sleep and think, oh, Charles said that, oh my goodness, being a sports fan and working out regularly and finding that a big deal is wrong. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when you put that over God. And how often do we do that, though? How often do we put that over God? Matthew 13, 3 and 4, 7 and 8, 22. It's all over Matthew 13. It says on here, and he told them many things in parables, saying, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word. But the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it proves unfruitful. And so it seems like Jesus is talking about many things that are unfruitful, the additional things. Because it's like in our lives, there's the bare necessities, there's the thing that we need, and then there's all these unimportant things. And some of you have responsibility. Some of you are parents. Some of you have responsibilities of work. You're responsible for people. I don't think Jesus was talking about that. I think Jesus was talking about the additional things, that stuff. Oh, everything will be just fine when I get this promotion. Everything will be just fine when I get my bonus check. Everything will be just fine when I get my stimulus check. Everything will be just fine when I can, sell the house or buy the car or anything like that. That is when we get in this in this situation that so many people get into, where we pursue trivial things. They take away from our relationship with God. And this isn't just a Christian thing. You put your time and effort into something, it takes away your relationships with other people, your friends. More people you could be pouring into, more people that you could be sharing either God's love or your own love. Whichever way, it takes away from that whenever you pursue things that are trivial. We live in a time where it's so easy for us to get distracted. We get distracted by social media. We get all this information coming all over the place. We don't know what to do with all of it because it's coming so fast. It's so easy for us to get distracted in this time. Now think about it. I'll give you an example. I was at my house a few nights ago, and I remember going through my Instagram feed, and I remember hearing this video that Stephen Furtick was preaching. I'm thinking, man, I like this. I'm gonna use this later, and I actually do. But the thing is, though, is I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to that video later, and all of a sudden, I go through my phone and I start, swiping, and then I just, okay, I see this, and then I get sidetracked on it, and then I keep going, and eventually, it's like an hour later, I think, oh, wait, that was why I went to Instagram in the first place, because I wanted to see the video again, because I wanted to take notes. This is good. I mean, this is really good stuff. I think all of us have this tendency now in our culture where we are. And it's not, I really can't say it's your fault, because it's so easy for us to fall into this of being distracted. Whenever you wake up, say you fire up your laptop, and in the morning, say the headline, when you look at the headlines, unless it's the Wall Street Journal or maybe the New York Times, I promise you, just about any article you're going to see is going to be how good Cardi B looks like in a bikini, how who the Kardashians are dating, divorced, or married to, which Avengers movie is the best, least to worst, greatest to maybe less great. I don't know. Whatever you think about the Avengers movies, I think they're all great. And this is an article, what 5 jersey numbers LeBron James should have considered before giving his number 23 to new teammate Anthony Davis. So you think, I mean, what are we focusing on? What are our headlines on? You don't hear anything about how to be a better father, how to be a better husband, how to be a better leader, mother, wife, child, anything. You don't hear about those things. Those things that we are hearing about are trivial. And too often, that is what gets our passions. What are you passionate about? What fires you up? What livens your spirit whenever you are in a conversation with people? Where do you spend your discretionary time? Where do you spend your discretionary money? Now, 31 years ago, began a new series that ran for 9 years. Anybody know which one I'm talking about? Seinfeld. Okay, Seinfeld was on, and it's a show about nothing. It really is. But if you might know, you remember the very end of the series was a 2-part, 2 episodes series or ending, and George and Elaine and Kramer and was it Joy, right? They had to make a unexpected stop at a small town, and they saw someone getting mistreated, and they ignored it. They kind of even made fun of it, and eventually they get arrested for criminal indifference. They weren't obeying the Good Samaritan law. And over this last period of time, all the people from the past kept saying, or would actually come back and they would say, yes, this is exactly what they are. They are criminally indifferent. They do not care. So they're so absorbed just getting in there. They're just living their own life. They don't care about anyone else. And 6 months, they end up getting sentenced to 6 months in prison. And the last conversation they had, they were in a holding cell, and Jerry looks at George. He says, that second button, what's it doing there? Nothing. And George says, have we had this conversation before? And Jerry says, you think? And people thought, what? Why would you end that like that? It's such a terrible ending. But the thing was, though, that was the very first conversation they had in the series. And it was a great ending. And it was so good because Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, they were smart enough to say, you think this is a show about nothing? No, these are people about nothing. You've enjoyed them. You would hang out with them. You might would have a drink with them. But they are living lives of trivial pursuits. People that pursue trivial things, and I don't mean this as harsh as what it sounds, but their lives are just trivial. It's not how fast you can run. It's not how quick you can get there. The thing is it matters where your finish line is. If you pursue trivial things, you're going to be trivial. Revelation 3:15 and 16. Let's see. I know your works, you are neither cold nor hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. For you say I am rich, I have prospered. So anyway, so Jesus says, I hate that. If you have knowledge of what I've done, and that doesn't fire you, that doesn't flame you up, I'd rather you be cold. Okay, here's an example. My parents are obsessed with lukewarm water. And it is the most disgusting thing in the world to me. They like lukewarm water. And I get it. Maybe I'm the weird one. Everyone out there loves their lukewarm water. They just like getting it from Walmart, putting it next to their door where the sun can come through. And then you're thinking, okay, this is my life. Okay, I like it. But I don't. I like it cold. But I guess you could say alternatively, I like it kind of hot too, because what can you do with like really hot water? I mean, you can make hot chocolate with it or something, right? I mean, it's pretty cool. But the lukewarm, so Jesus over here, he's following my train of thought here. And he's saying, I don't want you lukewarm. I want you either cold or hot. I want you to be very passionate for the Lord because you know what I've done and that Spirit fills you up. Or I just want you to ignore it altogether. So that pursuit, the point actually I missed over here, the pursuit of what matters most is trivial. So why don't we have passion? Well, I think many of us possess a shallow understanding of a God, a theology. I think many people think the main point of the gospel is, okay, different point of destination. But the gospel, the main point is to give us a different life. It's not about making sure that we go to the finish line and after the finish line is when the whole good stuff happens. The thing is, though, the point of the gospel is not to be forgiven and then nothing changes and then you just get dragged into heaven at the end of your life. No, the point of the gospel is to fill us with heaven. So when we do get there, it's like, finally, I am home. Finally, it feels right to be me. Philippians 2. Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only as in my presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for His good pleasure. Work it out. Put it into practice, he says. This is where the adventure begins. Your life in Christ, that's where the adventure is. That's where the life is full of. If it's all about going to heaven, then it's hard to trust or have passion. But when your life is being filled now, when heaven is coming into you now, that is worth all the passion. Every bit. You think, I don't know what I'm called to do. I don't know my purpose. I don't know where I'm supposed to be in life. And this is for you out there that might not know exactly what this great big God thing could be. That you think, I don't know if I have purpose or anything. I don't know if my calling is. I don't understand. All I do is I live my day-to-day life. And I don't feel like I have passion. Well, the thing is that you dive into a relationship with God. As Christians, we don't believe that it's all about, okay, I can just, once I put it on the survey, check mark, I'm a Christian, that we're going to heaven. That is not what the Christian faith teaches. That's what a lot of the theology that's out there makes you believe. Okay, if you check mark as a Christian, then you're okay. It's not about the destination. It is about the life that you live now. It is about the influence that you have now and about being more like Christ. And here's another reason how we pursue things can be trivial. We become hard-hearted. Well, who cares? I just don't want to build my life. I don't want to risk everything and then lose it. If we do that, our hearts become hard. You might not think, okay, well, this is what I want to do. When you don't want to improve because you're too insecure, or excuse me, you might not be insecure. You might be confident in where you are. The stuck people don't know they're stuck. The people who are living in lives of trivial pursuits don't realize they're in trivial pursuit because they think, I'm busy. My time is full. I keep doing the same thing. I keep doing the same thing. But the thing is, though, is you might be running hard, but you're running in place. So, how do we maybe find some passion? How do we maybe move forward? How can we improve? Well, there's a few things, I think. I skipped a few verses there. I'm really liking the point that's coming across here. First of all, don't beat yourself up. If you're stuck, do not beat yourself up. The first thing you can do is take inventory. Whenever you're at work, a lot of times people will take inventory, if you're at a store, what they have. What they have and what they don't have. This is your time to be honest with yourself. Am I growing? Does the world around me know I'm a Christ follower? Or is it just a survey box I just check? Am I a moral person? And I'm telling you, this is not just for Christians out there. I'm trying to talk to you, and this is a truth that is found in Scripture that is very well accepted, but you have to open your eyes to it. Am I a moral person? Am I there for others? Am I praying for people and myself? Am I reading the Bible? Because whether or not, maybe you don't know if you believe in God, I would encourage you not to be hard-hearted and say that this book full of moral principles, at the very least, could possibly improve your life. Am I passionate about anything? Am I passionate about anything in life, and am I passionate about anything with God? And how do those mix? Take inventory. And then here's the next thing. Do something and don't wait on your feelings to change. Do something and don't wait on your feelings to change. The key thing is to do something, commit ourselves to something, and break out of idleness. That is the root of disease of spiritual eternity. Christians are intended to be the most passionate of the people, but they are to be passionate about things that matter, not about the things that don't. So, don't wait. If you're thinking about this, don't let your feelings predict whether, or your moods predict whether you're going to do it. If you're going to tell yourself you're going to do 10 push-ups a day, do 10 push-ups a day. Don't wait on yourself to feel like it. You have to do it. In fact, I'm going to take this challenge with myself. I'm going to start running, okay? We can check up next week. We'll see if I can do it. You can keep me accountable. And I said it in front of all you, okay? So all of you can keep me accountable on that. Don't wait. Read the Bible. Join maybe a small group. Find a way that you can get with your community and talk about maybe just some things you don't understand. It's good to have conversation. And I would recommend having conversation with people who you trust that might have an idea, that might have someone that they trust in. Decide that you want to maybe go on a mission trip. Do something above and beyond. Something you might be afraid of, make the decision to do it. And once you've done it, then you look back and you say, man, this is great. This is what I want to do. This is where my mood wants to be. But if you don't, if you wait on your moods, then you will forever be a slave to wherever your moods want you to be. You never grow. And then the last thing I would say is hang out with people who are growing. You hang out with eagles, you're going to soar. You hang out with hippos, you're going to hang out in all the muddy water. Hang out with people, find friends that motivate you to keep going forward, to keep improving. to get unstuck. Your closest allies are going to be the ones that get you out of the mud, being stuck. Some of your hearts are hearing this and they think, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to act it out. I'm going to pick something. I'm going to take inventory. I'm going to just do it. I'm not going to wait on my feelings, and then I'm going to make sure that my friends are keeping me accountable. But some of you may say, no, there's no way I'm going to do this. It seems like a little change. I get that. But the thing is, those things add up over time. They're a huge thing. Because this great big God of the universe, I know about it. Yeah, love, compassion, everything like that. But the thing is, my guilt won't let me do this because everything is too difficult. I could not present myself to God. Yes, I know this gift, but I am so disgusted with my own sins that I can't even think about possibly giving it over to God, starting these things, starting a new life, because I can trust this, but I don't trust myself. I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Jacob. He had a twin brother. They both came out. His brother was Esau. Think very hairy, red-headed kind of guy. You might say myself. You might look at someone like me and think, okay, yeah, that's kind of what Esau looks like. I don't know. He was probably bigger and tougher than me. Hairier maybe, I don't know. But him and Esau were twin brothers. And they had this time, and this is at the very beginning of the Bible. This is in Genesis. Very old story. But his grandfather would be Abraham. And Abraham, if you hear about the story, his father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had father Abraham. Yeah. Jacob is related to him, a couple of generations down. And the thing is that Jacob came out second. And Jacob means heel grabber. He's just grabbing the heel of Esau. So that was his first wrestling match. Okay, some of you heard that he's a little bit of a wrestler. That's his first wrestling match. He was over there grabbing Esau, trying to be first. Because there was a big deal being first back then. Being the first kid, that was a huge deal. And so whenever you wanted to be, whenever you had the right of being the first kid, you got the birthright, you got the family, you had more inheritance. And so basically, I'm going to butcher this story. I'm going to really sum it up. Jacob tricked Esau a couple times, 2 times in particular, and got pretty much everything that Esau had. He became number 1 in a sense, even though he was number 2. He tricked Esau, he tricked his father. He did things, and he was a deceiver, and his mom was kind of a help too. But he was a deceiver. And then he fled like a coward because he didn't want to face Esau. He was afraid. He was afraid of Esau, his brother. But then God met him. And they actually wrestled. This man of God, this being. And the thing is Jacob had him. And then the angel or the being hurt his hip. So then that was the only way that maybe Jacob could get weakened, because Jacob seemed like was, I guess, winning. But the thing is that Jacob said, God bless me, and then I will do your will. And so then his name was changed to Israel. What do you know? Father of the land. That's what they're called now. The people. Israel. And then the man Israel, went above and beyond, was a father of a great nation, started all the tribes. There were so many things that birthed out of Jacob, who believed and had faith, strong faith in God. But here's the thing. Several generations later, his people got enslaved to Egypt. And you read this, And this is Exodus 3. It says on here, when Moses said to God, if I come to the people of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, say to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And that's a big thing. You hear that preached all the time, but here's what I'm talking about. Verse 15, God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of... He could have said Israel. Israel was the good side, the part of that was faithful, the part that really did God's work, the part that was the father of the great nation, the nice side, the stuff that people wanted to see. I know you're out there and you're thinking, this is too much. I can't, because I'm not on my good side. You know, if I was one of those pastor figures, one of those people who seem to have it all together, then maybe I could start working on it. But right now, I'm on the bad side. I'm a Jacob. And the thing is, though, this is what he says. He says, the God of Jacob. He is the God of your bad times. He is the God of your weaknesses. He is the God of the skeptic, the backslider. He is the God of the hopeless. He is the God of Jacob. He is the God of the desert seasons. And his name is Jesus Christ. And he is there for you, and he will always be there for you.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood rose through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. A child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me and I can stand and sing. I am a child of God. Oh, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child